how excited are you to just get this thing off and running?
Well, I'm very excited, and first and foremost, I want to extend a congratulations to Grace Rayner for winning Sports Writer of the Year for the state of South Carolina. Well deserved. But very, very excited, first off, to have all of you here. You know, obviously it's an exciting time. Anytime a group this large of media comes to Doug Kingsmore Stadium, it's the sign of something important starting, and that's the beginning of team practice. So we're very excited to be able to get the full squad out here, get started on the process of one day at a time, trying to get our team better, letting our guys compete against each other to try to determine their roles, trying to earn the roles on a starting pitching staff that lost, you know, all of our starting pitching. And then we have a number of positions that are still up for grabs as well. So it's a time of competition. And that's the way that I look at it. It's one day at a time. Let's compete as hard as we can to try to see, you know, who's the right guys, the best 9, not necessarily the 9 best players, but the best 9 guys to help us win, put them out there on the field, but also teach these guys as much as we can in a short amount of time to prepare them for one of the best leagues in the country, which is the ACC. But we've got a very tough non-conference schedule at the beginning of the year, a number of high-quality opponents that are going to challenge our players, but we get to start those games right here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, and we play pretty well at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. So we're really excited about today and what that encompasses, and just ready to get started.
At what point would you like to have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday guy, midweek guy in place?
Well, I think a lot of people put a lot of stock in that, and to be honest with you, I've went as a head coach. I'm in my 10th year. I've had a number of years where it was literally after Sunday's inter-squad, the week before you started, before we determined, okay, who's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And oftentimes that happens when you've lost some guys. You know, when some guys are trying to fight for those spots and trying to earn that right. It makes it pretty easy when you got a Barnes, a Eubanks, a Kroll, and then a 5th-year guy like a Tyler Jackson coming in, where it's pretty easy to see who's going to be the starter. So this year's a little bit different, and I'm excited about that. I really am, because I think our pitching staff will get better as the season goes. We feel good about the pool of candidates that we have in the mix to start. It's just a matter, again, of who's going to earn the right to toe the rubber on Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3.
Is this one of the best offensive clubs you've ever had coming back?
It's a good question. You know, I don't know that. I really don't. I try not to make too many predictions one way or the other, just because you really don't know. Injuries happen. It's baseball. You know, I've seen guys have incredible years one year, struggle the next. Guys that you didn't think were going to be factors, be big-time factors for you. So the unpredictability of the game is there, so you just don't know. But we, on paper, definitely have a chance to be a good offensive ball club. And it all starts with that 3-headed monster, you know, that we have in Logan Davidson, Chris Williams, and Seth Beer. You know, those 3 guys, I think any college baseball coach would sign up for those 3 bats in the lineup. They make all of us look like we're pretty good hitting coaches. So all 3 of those guys are dynamic offensive players that bring a different skill set than the other ones. You know, it all starts right there, and then we're going to build around those guys. We feel like we got a chance to be a good offensive club.
Riley says he's open to anything, but would you like to keep him at the back end of the bullpen?
Well, we'd like to. I mean, just because you have a bona fide closer, it makes the decision pretty easy when you have a lead late in the ball game who you're going to go to if he can pitch at the back end. One of the beauties of Riley Gilliam is he has the experience of starting as well. He started a couple ball games as a freshman, so he has that experience. We started him all fall for the most part until the last 2 weekends of the fall he started. So he has that experience. We could stretch him out in a starting role if needed, if we felt like we needed to do that. He's such a good athlete. I think he can make that adjustment pretty quickly. But if we can, we'd like to keep him at the back end of the game, because that's where games are won and lost, the last 9 outs of the game. So we can pitch him in the 9th inning. We've got a guy with electric stuff going out there for the final 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 outs if needed.
Got an update on Kier Meredith, his health?
Yeah, we actually met with Kier today. You know, Kier's going to start swinging the bat. Dry swings now, the rehab process of swinging the bat here in a few weeks. should be around the middle of February or so, depending on how his rehab progresses. Once he starts swinging the bat, it's about a month process to get him ready to play. So, my best guess, if everything stays on track, is somewhere in the end of March to April 1, somewhere in there. We obviously hope on the optimistic side of that, maybe we can get him back a little earlier than that, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We're going to be patient with him. It's a young man that's very talented, has a bright future here in our program and beyond our program, so we want to make sure he's 100% before we run him out there playing against somebody else.
How have you seen Seth Beer emerge as a leader on this team?
Well, the one thing about Seth leads by example. Seth is a young man of very high integrity. Integrity is what you do publicly and privately, and Seth is a prime example of how to live your life. And he, he's the guy, to be honest with you. I'm so cautious of our players, making sure they shut the doors and cut everything off and clean everything up when we're leaving. And oftentimes I come from the weight room after a workout, and I look down and the cage lights are on, and I'm frustrated because I'm thinking somebody left the lights on, left the cage unlocked, and I go walking down there and I can hear that ping, and it's Seth hitting by himself pretty much every day. I mean, he hits before practice, he hits during practice, he lifts weights, and then the guy goes back to the cage by himself and will crank up one of those, our pitching machines and just hit by himself for who knows how long. And that's kind of who Seth is. Seth's a guy that's extremely self-motivated, and he does things the right way. He leads by example. He tries to help our younger players, tries to coach our younger players, which we think is a great asset of a leader. And part of being a leader is coaching and policing the team. Seth does a fabulous job of that.
Coach, what kind of an impact are you expecting this incoming freshman class to make this season?
We feel like they're going to make a very big impact, and I'm sure I'm going to leave somebody out, but you got guys like Kier Meredith, you got Spencer Strider. Strider's got a big-time arm. He's going to be in the mix as a weekend starter. He's fighting for one of those weekend spots. Very, very talented, drafted out of high school. Sam Weatherly, Gatorade Player of the Year out of the state of Michigan, two-way player, extremely athletic, arguably the best athlete on the team. Matt Cooper. Matt Cooper's a young man out of Virginia, can catch, can play corner outfield positions, hit 350 this fall. So, between those guys, and there's a number of other guys that again, I'm sure I'm missing in there, but we've got 5 or 6 freshmen that we feel like have a chance to help us. Travis Marr is a name that we need to be familiar with. He had a medical red shirt last year, had a back injury, and he's throwing the ball really well right now. I mean, he's got a chance to be a weekend starter. He's a young man that we felt really good about out of the state of Colorado that was unable to play for us last year. So, this freshman group's got a chance. I think there's some guys in here that have a chance to be really good players and can contribute right away. Bryce Teodosio is another one that's a plus defensive outfielder. He's got to figure it out with the bat a little bit, but he's strong. He's got a good arm, can cover ground. He's got a chance to be special.
What about some of the guys you brought in, like Justin Hawkins?
Yeah, Hawk is... he's just, a country boy with power. I mean, that's what he is. He's, he's a junior college player, junior college transfer from USC Sumter, played for Tim Medlin, one of the best coaches out there. Played American Legion Baseball, was the American Legion Player of the Year. So he's extremely talented. This kid's got big-time power. He can play second base. He can play third base. He can play shortstop in a pinch. He's big. He's physical. So he's got a chance to contribute. We just got to get him more consistent. But there's no question he's got more raw power than any player out here. So when he touches the ball on the barrel, it goes a long way.
I heard he hit one that cleared the scoreboard.
He hit one over the scoreboard in a game, and the other day he hit one out of the stadium in batting practice. So, I've only been here. I'm only in my 3rd year, but with the BB-Core bat, I'm yet to see one clear and leave the ballpark. And he hit one over the scoreboard in a game and hit one out of the stadium the other day. So, again, he's pretty special when it comes to the power tool.
Y'all led the nation in strikeout to walk ratio last year. Have you got the guys with the control to come close to replicating that again? Or?
Well, we certainly hope so. If we put a huge emphasis on the value of eliminating the free 90. And it's the exact opposite on offense for us. You know, we want to try to accumulate the free 90 any chance we get by the hit by pitch, the walk, reach by an error, stolen base. We try to eliminate that on the pitching side and on the defensive side, and they work together. And I think that's a big key for us as defense this year. You know, simply because we've got some guys on the starting end who don't have that experience, and they're going to make some mistakes. We got to play good defense behind them. We got to pick them up on defense. So we need to be consistent on defense. But I do think we're going to run a starting pitching staff out there that's going to pound the strike zone, because it's a staple of our program. You know, the bottom line is we're going to fill up the strike zone. Those are the kind of guys that we're going to pitch. We're going to err on the side of strike throwers more so than velocity and stuff.
Logan, we all know what he did last year, but is he one of those guys that you look up at the end of the year to be in the talk for National Player of the Year? Can he have that type of potential?
Well, I think you know, and I don't know what's out there across the country, just, you know, what's more in our neck of the woods, but Logan Davidson's got to be one of the most talented shortstops in the country, regardless of class. You know, he's a guy that's going to garner you know, that type of recognition to where he could be Team USA shortstop. He could be that kind of player. Now, they got to make that decision. But I think Logan's a guy that if he continues to progress, he's going to be a top half of the first round type talent next year. So the answer is yes. You know, a switch hitter that's his size with his glove and arm. He's a 6'5" runner. He's an above average runner who switch hits and plays shortstop. They're not falling off of trees like that. So, and he's a hard worker. So I think Logan is an All-American caliber player. He has that ability. He has that type of makeup, and it's just a matter of him putting